Okay, welcome everyone. I thought I would record a quick tutorial walkthrough, or orientation as I call it, just in case anyone gets stuck, or I will also go over some things that are not in the tutorial, just a little bit of extra dive into the controls and stuff like that. So let's get going. This is the first screen you will see, beginner orientation. Just click that button there. This is all pretty self-explanatory. Nobody seems to have issues with this. Click this. Name your new drone. Call it Droney. All this stuff is disabled for the orientation, but you'll be able to use it after you're done with it. So we just confirm or press enter. And then we go up here to add the body. There's a bunch of them, but they're all locked. And they will be locked until you beat the levels that unlock them, but even if they're locked, you can still use them for sandbox type stuff. But that's neither here or there. Let's just pick this body that it tells us to. Then we pick the engine that it tells us to. Then we pick the weapon that it tells us to, and we pick the bullet. So this is something that has to be remembered all the time. It's just whenever you put a weapon on, you need to load ammunition or an emitter for a laser type weapon. Those are the only ones that they're there now. So you just load the bullet, and you can kind of see things there. And then this is just goes to code, but you can also do some other things. A lot of things are locked. These are right-click menus. So a right-click menu will give you a lot of options. Some of these are locked during orientation, but yeah, so if you can't find an option and you think there should be one, it's probably under right-click menu. So you can, right now, if you really felt like it, you could edit the colors, make it nice and orangey. I mean, that's really ugly. Sure. Yeah. So you do continue with the code here where it tells us to. So yet again, another right-click menu here. You can see that this is locked. I don't want fighters to be removed because it will break the pace of the tutorial. Well, actually break the tutorial probably. And you get a little thing here. So you can add a fighter to arena. You can usually add a maximum of 12, but I think for the tutorial, I'm limiting it to set variables and search nodes. Is not really important right now, but you can do it if you want. It's too early to explain. Add to arena, we'll add it to the arena here. Only the first one's unlocked, and they also have right-click menus, but yeah, you can't do anything right now in the orientation. Anyway, we follow the tutorial again. Click and drag, and shift click and drag. You can scroll in and out with the mouse or plus minus. These controls you can see here in the settings controls, like arena here. You can see zoom camera here. You can pan and orbit, pan with the middle mouse or with just arrow keys. Toggle nameplate for whatever reason. Shift click to rotate. It rotates at 5-degree intervals, and let go, and we're good. Completed that step. You can see that the chips here for each one of these parts is here. You can click as it says, and it'll show it. Chips also have controls, so if you hold shift and do the mouse scroll wheel, you can zoom in and out of it. Woo. And then you can also shift and middle mouse click to pan them around as well. All the chips will pan around. But anyway, starting in the center is recommended, so we start in the center. Event nodes will start threads that will keep going. So most of your code will start from this on CPU cycle event node. We don't even mention it. There are several here, but those are not part of the orientation. And if you want to do a deep dive, you can. But it's not really documented anywhere for now. We click on a direction open cell. Cells are these blue things here. Nodes are whatever's on the cell. So we just pick this here. We'll go to true. We can close it, or we can just continue here. If we just click there, we don't have to close it, but either way is fine. Then we do the read node. The body part has all like the sensor type stuff, all the read things. The first one is get statistic, which is true. All of these parts will get statistics. Statistics are up here. ID, mass, blah blah blah. So you can see the IDs. You can get all these statistics here. But what it's asking for us is to get hostile fighter. So we get the hostile fighter, and then we select the angle. We're gonna get the angle of a hostile fighter. Okay. And we leave the input as proximity. Proximity is kind of like an array, 0 closest, and then 1 is a little further, the second furthest, second closest, whatever, and then so on. So we leave it at 0. Some of these you don't have to do anything. You don't have to like input anything or click anything. You just say got it, because there's nothing to do. So you just say got it, and it continues the tutorial. And then we save the output. These are the variables. Like right here, you can set them here early, or you can set them during runtime here. And this can be whatever character, 3 characters we want. It can be 1, 2, 3. It can be A, B, C. I usually like A and G. Case matters, so this is different than that. I usually save it as A and G. These are the things we can ignore for now, and then we just close it. Now it tells us to move it. We can move it with the arrows here. We can also click here and move it. I think here as well. You can move it on this. You can move it on this. You can move it on this. You can move it on the arrows. Now I'll get that step out of the way. So yeah, another right-click menu, and we add another one. Yeah, so these we call fighters. It added it pretty close because we moved the other one out of the position 1 here. It tries to move them out around positions unless the position is clear. So now another right-click menu. So fighters have right-click menus as well. You can see that it's pretty barren. There's just put in teams and then remove. So you can place in team 2 here. There's, each team will be hostile to another team. Your default team is team 1 in missions, PvE, or PvP fights that you start. You'll be team 1. So team 2 is gonna be the CPU, or whatever, NPCs. So we just put it in team 2 to make this hostile, and then you say, yeah, okay, we'll reset this. We have to reset every time to put the code back into the fighters here. So yeah, we just press R. And then we can kind of see like the default variables here. Nothing is documented really, but like you can use these variables. You can read them. I'll show when later. So we can see this is ID 2. Rotation is 0. X0 is Y is -80. This is the XY in the arena. And you can see this one's rotated a little bit at 50. Anyway, and then it tells you to watch the code here. So you watch this code. If you have a fighter selected, it'll show you the code. If there's no fighter selected, it'll not show you the code running because it doesn't know, like there's no environment for it to read things or do anything. So this will be Dronies 2 code. You can see it running here. It's getting the angle of -50 to this fighter. And if we switch to here, you can see that this is getting an angle of 180. So pretty much right behind it. -150 is is to the left, negative left, positive right. Can ignore this thing. This is you can see on these like rollovers, it gives you a little more readable context of what the node is doing, and inherits the number of cycles. So this is just increasing for every cycle. This is not important. This is important. We're getting the angle of 0 proximity, the first hostile fighter, closest hostile fighter, and we're saving it to the variable ang. And then you can see that, you can see that we're getting ang here -50, and this one will be 180. It's saved, so you can keep track of these. When it gets like a star here, then you know it's like a fighter. It's a fighter variable. So is here. If it's not run, like if it's like you press escape to deselect this. This should actually change, but like you can see that it's it goes darker. This should change too. I'll fix it. Okay, anyway, we continue. Now we click on the engine. engine chip here, and then we'll just move it whatever. So another center click, and then we do another event, and we're going to start with CPU cycle again. We're going to have another thread going here, and then we do another direction, and then we so now we're going to do a modified node. This changes values. There's a lot of different options. We're only going to use multiplication now. To look into other ones, you can mess around. A lot of this is just, you can just mess around with stuff. There's a lot of ways to do it right, to do things right. You can do it wrong too, but there's no harm in messing around. This is what the sandboxes are for. You can try these different values. You can get random values. Anyway, so yeah, so we're gonna get this value that we got, this variable that we got here, and then we're gonna multiply it by 5. This is for the next node. It's kind of not obvious here, but we kind of have to do it early, so it's a little jank as far as contextualizing is concerned, or like trying to understand is concerned, but just follow these instructions. So yeah, so now we multiply this value by 5, and this is going to be angle times 5 that we got of this hostile fighter, and then we get another direction here and close it. And then so now we're doing an action. Each part has different actions. The body doesn't have any, but the engine has actions. It'll have different actions if it has different actions. So this one has a move and turn for the engine, and we're selecting turn here. So we're going to use the variable we saved here for the angle. We're going to turn to the angle of the fighter, of the hostile fighter. So we're going to turn toward the fighter, right? Yeah, and it will respect, like if it's left and right. This is just a direction, right? I should actually put that in there, but yeah, it's just a direction. So positive will turn right, negative will turn left, and since they're going to be on the left or the right, it'll go to that side. So yeah, so we just put angle here. Now this is a lot of words, but basically we could use angle here again, and the power would start getting lower as the angle gets lower. So then the targeting gets more precise. The drone slows down the turning. Because this is the power is the absolute value, so it's not going to go negative or anything like that. But we did this multiplication here to multiply the angle by 5, and that's what we're going to use. So we'll make the drone turn a little faster toward the other drone. It's more useful in later stages. So we just put as inherits, because it'll pass the inherited value here. And just test it here real quick. Select this. Okay. See, it's huge here. It's 180, 900, and then you can watch it fall as it gets closer, right? I don't know if that makes any sense, but it should work. You can see them turning toward each other. Then let's just reset here. Then we click back on this body node. We're prompted to click it again, and of course you can have 6 outcomes per node. So we'll just choose a new node. Try to stay away from the other nodes for now. I think you should be able to get through, even though you don't have come on, guy. Even though you don't have all these other, you should be able to get through even if you get close to other nodes. And we're going to read another one. We're going to read the hostile fighter's distance this time, so we're not changing this to angle or anything like that. We're going to get the distance of the hostile fighter. Okay, this tells you that this will be, you can have negative outcomes. So if you do double click, you get a false outcome, and that's if it doesn't find this. If it doesn't find the hostile fighter, it will output to false, which is not true. It should not be true ever, because if there's no hostile fighters, that means you won, at least for the way that the logic is for stages right now. But it asked us earlier to do a true setting, so let's not screw with it. Like if you do it wrong, it's like you set it to false and you close this, You'll be like, oh, come back, do it again. Because I'm not doing too many checks, but I'm just checking if there is like a true outcome from this. So if that happens, you can just redo this thing, and you have to select the same thing. So now you set it to true, and it says, okay, that's good. You can disable this for cleanliness. And now we just select the node that, so we just got the distance of the hostile fighter. You can see it, closest hostile fighter distance. And now we'll dispatch. Dispatchers and listeners work together. Dispatchers will dispatch code here to listeners, and yeah, it's just kind of a way to pass the code around without having to set too many variables. So this could be anything. This could be, I just call it this. Let's dispatch. And this is like the scope, right? So the scope is local, global, area. Local is for only for the same part. So even if you have an extra chip, you can add one right now, but you can have more than one chip. And so that's also local. As long as it's the same part, it's local. Global is your whole drone. So all of the parts will listen to the global if the listener is set to global. And area is for the area. So all your drones can listen to the area if you set the listeners to area. So this one tells us this kind of explains a little bit. And this okay, yeah, this can also evaluate to false if there's no listeners too, which is can be kind of maybe useful if you're trying to dispatch to a part that's been destroyed, and you can say, oh, it's not there, so do something else with the false outcome. One of these. Anyway, pick up global. And now we're taking this distance here, and then we'll get passed through here. So that now we just say it inherits. It's kind of inherits is just the value that's being passed around, unless it gets set by something else, by like a read node. A read node will set a variable. Will set its we'll set an inherited value. Like here, you can actually pass it through too, but that's not anything. Anyway, so yeah, we just kind of got off of it, so we just go back and redo this real quick. Got it, and close. So we're just setting inherits, and now we're going back to the engine. What was that? Kind of jumped weirdly. So yeah, we just click in open area again. Let's just go here, and then now we're doing listen. So listen, we're listening to the same code here, and that was this here. So we type it in. We're gonna listen to this, and then we do global as well here. So if you do global, and now this is kind of a new thing that was not in the previous iterations of the software of the game. So like this will give you a list of all the dispatchers that this is listening to. So this one kind of gives you a location of it. 112 is the chip. 12 is the actual location. So this is like goes like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. This is 12. You can click on it. It'll highlight it in purple here. And yeah, like if it's hidden, you can click on it. It'll show it. It'll unhide it and show it there. So that's kind of I think that's kind of useful if you get lost of what's listening to what, and then you just got it. So yeah, we just click on a direction and then close it again. So now we got that distance going, passing through. Now we're going to use a compare node. A compare node compares values. So we're going to compare some stuff with the distance. Yeah, this is telling us that we're getting the distance here from this, and distance is fine. I got it. And now we're going to check if the distance is greater than something. So if it's greater than, we'll put 50 here. If it's greater than 50 or whatever you want it to be, we're gonna do an action, a move action after this. So if more than 50, we're gonna do evaluate to true. Now, and then we'll show the false later. And now we'll just do the action now. So if it is further than 50 meters, everything's in meters, and I guess kilograms don't matter, but this is like meters. Well, it could be just units, 50 units. I call them meters. So this is a move. We don't change it. Doesn't ask us to change it to default value. Is a move. So yeah. So this is where the direction that it's gonna move, which is the Right, so it's like relative to itself. So 0 is straightforward, um, relative to the drone. 90 to the right, negative 90 to the left, 180 or negative 180, it will start moving backwards. So not to the left, but it'll strafe that way. It'll go straight. So this is telling us let's go straight because we're already turning toward the enemy anyways. At 100 power, 100% power. So now, okay, that comparison nodes of course have a false. So we just click it twice to set it to false, and then we can go to the false action. The false part, we'll do the action again. And so this is if it's closer, equal to or closer than 50 meters. So this is not really super necessary, but it's just an example. You can probably delete this code for your production drone. I don't know. So yeah, this just tells us that each action on every action, every part, it will keep executing itself unless it's limited. Specifically says that it's limited, like shoot 1, 2, or 3 times. We'll see that later. But something like generic, just move, it'll just keep moving. So this will never stop. This will just keep moving at 0 degrees, 100% power until you give it another move action. So it has to be exactly move action. So yeah, now so this is kind of just like a test to show that you can. None of this matters because we're gonna set it to 0 to stop the fighter, and it's kind of just it's kind of like a proof of concept, really. Let's move these a little further apart so we can see what happens here. Reset it and play it, and you can see that they're turning toward each other, and now there is valuing to false because it's at 40. They're at 46 meters, so they're stopping. And you can kind of walk through this code if you want slowly. You can move backwards. You can move back. You can go faster. You can watch it go slower. You can watch it go really slowly and see what's happening. See that it's further away. It keeps turning toward the hostile and stuff like that. And then the last part we're gonna code up is the gun here. It's the machine gun, and this one has a lot of stats. Blah blah blah. Same thing. So I'll open cell, middle, recommended, and then we'll listen again. So we're gonna listen to the same code from here again. This one. Right. So let's go this. And once we hit global, we can see that it's there again. We can find it here. So yeah, let's just go here. It's right here, right? And now we're gonna do another compare node. We're gonna compare if the distance is close enough, and we're still getting the distance from this, right? So we're just keeping it inherits. And now this is a little bit wordy as well, but it's basically saying you can kind of see what your weapon distance is by doing some math here. You can do it on the actual chip by getting statistics, but that's probably not worth it. You can just kind of see that it lasts 2 seconds and goes 50 meters per second. So it will go about 100 meters per second. Well, it will go 100 meters, not per second. It will go 100 meters total. But of course, like drone movement and everything else, like everything depends, right? So all it's saying is just let's do it 100 meters or less because there's no just to conserve ammo. But you can probably start earlier because you'll be moving into the other hostile drone will probably be moving into you as well. So you can start early, but this is just tutorial purposes, right? So we'll just do another true path here, and then we do another compare. Now we're gonna compare the angle. It's asking you to use the angle variable here again, which is this one. Yeah. So we're gonna check the hostile fighter's angle, and this is a little wordy again, but what it's basically saying is because the angle, it can be positive or negative. We have these two comparisons, which is absolute value is less than and absolute value is greater than. So if we do absolute value is less than, we can see if it's like less than 5 degrees, doesn't matter if it's left or right, less than -5, less than 5. So less than absolute will always be like less than 5. So if it's like, that's what we're putting in. We're going to be, is it less than or equal to 5 degrees, either negative or positive. So it's kind of close enough in front of our drone, right? And we can click another true, close that, or click it. And now this is the last part, is this action on the gun. So like I said, each part will have different actions. This one has just fire and just one input, so there's no need to change any of that. This is the number it'll fire, 1, every time it gets to this code. Now if this code doesn't come back to this, it will only fire once and stop. So if you're like, I don't know, changing angles, if you're like get turned around real fast, you'll fire once. If you want to do like a burst or something, you can do 5 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's good, but you can keep it at 1. 0 is probably not good because it's not going to fire anything. Now we close it and it tells us you can compare it again, right? So we can try it again. You have to reset. Remember to reset, and then it'll just go at 1 speed. They'll come at each other. You can see that it's close enough, so they're firing. You can kind of see the bullets. Yeah, got pretty much expected result. And now it's asking us to go to deploy. Now this is the deploy. This is where your missions are. You can have your records here, and it's like seasonal, so you can try to beat these. I think this was like the last tutorial. I think this tutorial is 10.03. I think we should get 10.03. But anyway, so now you select your team. You can put up to 3 drones in PvE missions, which we will do. And this is the only drone we have right now. So we put that, and then it's like, okay, here we go. And then of course, if you have more, you don't have to put the same drone in all the time. You can have a little different mix and match team, depending what you want out of it. And then the last one as well. Then we just click simulate. And once you click simulate, that's the end of the main orientation. It doesn't say that, but after that you can access all the menus that were locked before. So you just click simulate, and it tells you to simulate here, simulates there, and then you can observe it here. You can click the results to see the end of it too. It's not gonna. You don't have to watch the battles. You can just look at the results. But right now, the orientation is telling you to look at the results. So we look at them. This is the level, first level. There's only 1 hostile there. You can select your drones here. You can zoom in on them. This will follow it. If you click twice, the camera will follow them. This middle one. You can also just select them here as well. Same thing as in the sandbox area in the coder part. Controls are the same, blah, blah, blah. You can press play and you can watch it. It says if you want to wait until the end, you can click on this battle summary, try it now. So we look at it and we say that we won. Because it was all simulated before, so it already knows the result, right? So you can see the result here. Or you can end the simulation here. You can just exit. You can just exit here as well at any point. So you got it. You can check your details here, or what happened. You can see like what your parts did, like accuracy, what percentage of damage was done by each different part. These are just for collisions, right? So anyway, let's just watch the end to the end. This one's getting nuked. This thing just kind of fires the laser, and then we're just firing things at it. And we won, and we unlocked the C wing, which is the smallest wing. There's A, B, and C. Then we can just end it here. We can also like replay it for whatever reason we want. But then we just exit here. It's fine. And now it's prompting you to go to check out the PvP stuff. I think people weren't really going there, so I just kind of did a prompt. You can see that level 2 is unlocked too. Each one takes different amount of stars, and if you do like the secondary objective, you can move faster or skip some levels if you don't like them. Then these are like the objectives, you win stuff. Then the PvP has ratings for the season. This is season 0. It's kind of like in betweener season, so these are just there's going to be 3 objectives per season for each one. So this is just a title unlock, which will go here. It's a prefix, and then it's prompting you to see the free-for-all one. 3v3 is blocked in demo, but you can see the free-for-all. There's no ratings here. It's just for fun, right? That's what it says. Okay, blah blah blah. It's just for fun, no rewards. You don't have to add a fighter here. It might be too early. And then that's it. You like end orientation, and now you can just go on. And like I said, and you can see that the builder is marked a little bit with the red here. That means there's new parts, and you can see this is marked red. That means there's new parts, and you can see that the new wing is new. So you can just add it and then move on. This one doesn't have any slots for weapons or anything. It has a modification slot, but we don't have any mods right now, or at least any that are unlocked. You can add parts even if you don't have them unlocked, but this will invalidate the drone. You can see it's gray here. So if you try to deploy it, this will say invalid drones. But you can still use them in these sandboxes and they'll still work just fine, even if they're invalid. As you can see, all the options were unlocked now. You can edit these levels, add obstacles. Yeah, there's things in the controls on how to control them. I'm not going into too much, but yeah. You can import chips. You can add new drones. If you get stuck on the tutorial, you can press F5. That's function 5 to skip the tutorial, and then you can go ahead and pick a preset post orientation drone, which will be the drone that would come out from orientation. As you can see, this one here, it should look something like this after you're done, right? So it's a good reference one if you got stuck on it somehow. And you can add different drones to different sandboxes, and it'll save it for you for different types of tests. And I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, just continue, keep going. If you keep adding parts and keep adding weapons to them, you should be able to get through level 5 pretty easily, and you can unlock cool stuff like these specials and converters, which are cool. Yeah, let's do a little flavor. You can earn decals and stuff. So yeah, edit colors, you can edit the decals here. Yeah, I don't know, whatever, have fun. All right, thank you for watching and good luck.